I've been seeing a few things which is not healthy in a breakup. I just really wish that I could get back to that place where I just loved something without overthinking it. I don't know if I should keep this in or not. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Meg It Makes Sense. This is the show / podcast where I make sense of my life and kind of going through your 20s. This week's episode, we are making sense of things we're saying goodbye to in 2025. I talk about losing your innocence, and I talk about Addison Rae. I talk about BTV. I talk about seeing my ex on social media. I talk about leaving year 12. So let's get into the episode. Literally, as I've sat down to do this, my neighbors upstairs have decided to start hammering. I don't know what they're using a hammer for, but they just keep chipping away at it. So hopefully you guys can't hear that too much through the microphone. But if you do, I do apologize. I've had a turbulent week this week, I think. I think the problem is that I've had like really high highs. So the lows have been quite big, but that's okay. It's just like navigating my mental health and all of that at this point. But on the weekend, on Friday night, me, James and Eden went to Addison Rae, and that was so good. Oh my God. Addison Rae is like an ethereal human being. And ethereal, I mean, she's like angelic, like heavenly. Like when I saw her, I was like, oh my God. Like, you know, when you see someone, you're like, holy shit, that's a real person. Like I will never forget one time, I'm not sure if you guys know the content creator Cardia Milan. I saw Cardia Milan in Paddington in Brisbane, and she was glowing, and I was like, holy shit, that's a real person. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced seeing someone with like aura like that, but it's like mesmerizing. Anyway, Addison Rae was amazing, and I wasn't really a fan of Addison Rae before, but now I've started listening to her music, and wow, I just love it. You can tell it's got like that Swedish, like, I don't really know what I'm saying right now, but she's just amazing. I'm also going to be seeing her at BTV. And guys, if you've been following along with my BTV journey, I'm going, woo, I'm so excited. I'm officially going, like, locked in pretty much, unless something happens. So that's going to be good. I'm going to start to get my fits ready. I'm going to do a YouTube video where I go thrift shopping with Eden and James, and I like mic us up. So let me know if you're keen to watch that. I feel like it will be really funny because both of them are just completely brutally honest. And then Friday night, I was like, okay, after Addison Rae, I need to go home because I've got work the next day at like 7 o'clock. But Eden and James went out, and I think they may have had a big one. I don't know. I don't really know what they got up to, but looks like fun. Looks like I did miss out, but that's okay because I really did not want to be hungover the next day. So Saturday I had work all day, and then I stayed in Saturday night. Me and a friend just watched a movie and just chilled. And then on Sunday, I had to go back to work because if you guys don't know, my actual job is I'm a dance teacher. And if you've ever done dance growing up, you know that end of year means end of year concert. At where I work, we have like a big production as our end of year concert, and it's like a huge deal. So we have stage rehearsals at the moment, and I just think no one should put me in charge of getting props made because like we have this really good prop, and thank God like one of the dance dads has like made this prop, but it's like a big box on wheels, and it needs to like move around a lot, and the box kind of kept breaking while people were on top of it. But I'm pretty sure we have the issue sorted, and no children are going to go flying off a box, hopefully. So yeah, it's like really busy with our end of year concert. But I love it, and like that's when the community all comes together. And like I don't know if anyone grew up dancing or has been part of a dance studio. It's literally the most fun, the best time of the year. Like I'm 24, I've been doing this for 22 years, and it's still my favorite time of the year. It still fills my cup. It still makes me so happy. I don't have too much to report on. Like I I mean, I do, but nothing I can't really indulge in on the podcast. Like, obviously, at the moment, I think one of the reasons why I've been having such a high and low week is because for me, my going through this breakup, my ex is obviously online and I haven't blocked him, but I've been seeing a few things which is not healthy in a breakup. Like, I feel like most people that don't share their life online they don't have to see these things that might make them upset. And yeah, I've just been seeing a few things online and getting a few messages that have been making me a little bit upset. I just need to figure out a way that I can navigate that because it's inevitable and I am going to be seeing those things and I am going to be getting those messages and I am going to be getting those comments. And it's not normal in a breakup, but as I just said, it's inevitable for me. So I just need to figure out a way that I can just cope with it and move on, unfortunately. And maybe I'll report back with how I'm actually dealing with that because I know it's not normal. But I guess everyone kind of has to deal with it at some point because social media is a part of everyone's life. Maybe for me, it's just on a little bit more of a heightened scale because of my ex's job and stuff. Maybe I should block him. I don't know. I don't really want to do that, but maybe that would be for the better. I don't know. I'll let you guys know what I do. Not to be all Debbie down and upset, but that's just probably why I've just had such a shit week. It's just because I'm forced to see those things. Now reflecting and saying it out loud, I think I should just block him because I feel like it would make my life easier. But I just don't know if that's escaping the problem and not facing it or if that is facing the problem and being healthy. Oh, it's so hard to navigate. Anyway, let's get on to this week's Make It Make Sense. This week's Make It Make Sense is low-key a bit of a deep one as well. I know I always try and be like, oh, I want to do a fun Make It Make Sense, but I just always want to make sense of things that are a little bit deeper. So this week's Make It Make Sense is Make It Make Sense losing your innocence. It's not... Losing your innocence is something that I've always heard of, but I've never actually experienced / thought about. I think I thought when I was like leaving year 12 or maybe like everyone block your ears if you know me, like having sex for the first time or like something that made me feel like I was losing my innocence, but God, I was so wrong. I think this year in particular, going through the breakup and then dealing with trauma from like ballet and stuff like that, have I really understood and discovered what losing my innocence is. And it's actually really sad. And I would do anything. Oh my God, I'm going to start crying. I'm going to try not to cry because that doesn't make a very good podcast episode. I would do anything to get my innocence back. And I know that's like a crazy statement because you experience these things and you learn from them and you grow from them. But like just doing anything to, like I will never go into a situationship or a relationship again without my walls up from this relationship. I've experienced so many traumatic things from this breakup that it's like my brain can't not go there. And I really wish, and I said this to my friends the other day, I really wish I could just, like when I first went into my relationship, I had no expectations, no walls up, nothing. I could just freely go into it. And now I've completely lost that and I've lost my innocence and I will never be able to do that again, which is really sad. Even like going through what I did with my dancing and like the trauma I have around food and discipline and all that, like I just really wish that I could get back to that place where I just loved something without overthinking it. Guys, I really should go to therapy. I don't know if I should keep this in or not. I just feel like maybe if you're a bit younger, you won't fully understand this, and just losing your innocence isn't doing all those things like having sex, drinking for the first time, whatever. It's not that. Losing your innocence is going through all these traumatic things and then never being able to go into a situation the same. But it's inevitable in life, and it's something that you have to face it and you have to deal with that. So I need to stop spending time being upset about it, and I should acknowledge it still, but I need to accept the fact that I've experienced what I've experienced, and that's my life, and that's what's happened to me, and that's just going to help me grow into the next situation and deal with the next situation differently. It's just that life happening to you is a little sad sometimes, and I don't mean to be depressed, and I don't know if this is helping anyone even talking about this, and I don't even really know where I'm going with this, but I just think it makes sense. Losing your innocence may be one of the most hard things to navigate in your 20s, because you will never look at any friendship, relationship, hobby, skill, situationship again. I think it's hindsight. I think hindsight is a magical thing. Hindsight can be a beautiful thing, and hindsight can be a sad thing. And having hindsight really puts your walls up about certain situations and make it make sense. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing currently losing your innocence, but it really makes me feel like, holy shit, like life is happening, because I will never be the same again from my experience, my trauma from ballet, my trauma from my relationship, my trauma from friendships, my trauma from grief. I will just never experience certain situations again. And I can't wait until I get to experience something completely new without any trauma and without hindsight, and just being able to go into it with innocence. But I know innocence leads to sadness, which sucks. And I know innocence leads to like being let down, or innocence can lead to being heartbroken or being traumatized. But just going into something with that freedom and innocence is something that I wish I could get back. Anyway, let's move on. Sorry guys, a little bit of tears, a little bit of sadness there, but it kind of goes with this theme of this episode. I actually got the idea because some of my older students that I teach that are like 17, 18 left me a video on my camera when we were at stage rehearsals, and they wanted me to talk about saying goodbye, because they're going through saying goodbye to high school. Some of them are leaving year 12 and moving into the real world. I know some people around me are graduating university and getting even more into the real world. And then I know that some people are saying goodbye to relationships, for example, like me, if you're going through a situation similar to me. And then some people are saying goodbye to friendships. Some people are saying goodbye to jobs. It's just a funny time of the year because we're at the end of the year. Like, it's Christmas time, New Year's, everyone wants to let go of things and welcome new things into their life. So, and I think it's just a big theme to like say goodbye to things right now and let go of things. And that's why I just wanted to discuss it today. And we're going to be discussing like different types of goodbyes and how to cope with these things, and even like what I'm saying goodbye to. So as I just touched on, a lot of people right now are saying goodbye to year 12. And if you're not in year 12, maybe this is a little bit of nostalgia for you, and you can think about like how you maybe handled this goodbye. And if you're in year 12 right now and you're saying goodbye to year 12, this is maybe just some advice that I can offer you. I think saying goodbye to high school is so interesting because in a way, it's kind of like one of the first times you're saying goodbye to a version of yourself. You think about it right now, like all your friends are very circumstantial because you have to be with them every single day and you're like forced to be with them. And then you're like forced to be this version of yourself because you're doing things like studying all the time, or you're going to parties with the same people. Whereas when you leave high school, you're really, and I know this is scary, but you're really on your own, and you have to create your own schedule, and you have to create your own priorities, and you have to prioritize friendships, work, university if you go to university, or if you're doing like a course or something. You have to kind of create your own priorities. And I think when you're shifted away from being in a circumstantial situation, like around certain people because of high school, you really come into your own personality. The amount that I have grown in the 6 year, has it been 6 years? How old am I? When did I leave high school? 2018. Yeah. So in the 6 years that I've been out of high school, I have completely grown into just a completely different person, kind of like what I was saying before, just because of the experiences that you've been through and the traumas that you've been through, and different situations bring you around different people. There's this, like, pretty sure it's a statistic, or maybe not a statistic, but this philosophy of, like, you are the 7 people that you surround yourself with. You are the product of the 7 closest people you surround yourself with, and that's like 100% true. You will mold into a completely different person depending on who you surround yourself and your priorities and what you're doing in your life. And I know that's scary because it's unknown, but you'll just deal with it as it comes to you. And maybe it is a thing of, like, you are losing your innocence going from year 12 because you're stepping into having to be an adult and having to do things on your own. You will find that there's literally people that you see every single day. Maybe, like, you're in all the same classes as them, and you sit with them at lunch, and you'll leave high school and you'll never talk to them again. And you're like, kind of like, what was that? Like, how come I go to seeing this person every single day, but I never see them again? But I think you have to allow yourself to do that, honestly. And you have to allow people to leave you. And you also have to allow and welcome new friendships, because they will shape you into the person that you're going to be. And you need to, leaving high school, definitely just make sure that you're putting yourself first and putting your goals first. For me, when I was leaving high school, I really struggled with, like, and I guess this was because as well, like, I only did full-time ballet for 2 years after I left high school. And maybe some of you leaving high school are leaving, like, a hobby. Like, for example, if you danced all your life and you're not doing that anymore, if you played soccer, or if you did netball, if you're a part of a certain group and you've decided that after year 12 that you're going to be leaving that, you kind of struggle with this sense of purpose and this sense of, like, who am I? Like, because school, studying, friendships, your hobbies, your skills is your identity at this point. And then when you leave high school, you are forced to create your own identity driven around your goals and your aspirations and how you treat people and all of that, which I think is really tough. But I think you just have to take every day as it comes, find your priorities, find the friendships that mean the most to you, and just live life like that and not think too much about it. Because honestly, I'm struggling with my sense of purpose and identity, and yeah, it is something that you kind of have to tackle. Like, you do that is something that you have to face head on. You can't avoid it, otherwise you will just struggle. But when I thought about it too much, like, it genuinely gave me depression and made me really not in a good mental health space. I think for me, I avoided it, and I really just tried to live life and have fun and buried myself into dance, that when it actually did come time to think about, like, what my purpose was and what my identity was and where I wanted to go in life, I catastrophized it, and it made the problem so much worse. And if you told me that I would be doing what I'm doing now when I was leaving school at 17, I would be like, what the hell? Like, I would not expect it. I wouldn't Like, I just wouldn't expect it, and I wouldn't have thought that this was my path. Like, I probably would have told you a completely different story of what I wanted to do. So I think that's why you can't, you can have your goals and dreams, but nothing is set in stone in this life, and the universe will manipulate you and usher you around where you need to be. Like, I don't know if you guys believe in all that universe manifesting whatever, but I am a big believer in it. And I think that even with my breakup, like, I was meant to go through that to learn the lessons that I was meant to learn. And even with leaving ballet, like, that was meant to happen for me because I was meant to learn those lessons and I was meant to grow as a person from that. And I think leaving year 12 is really sad because you are saying goodbye to your childhood. But just know that your 20s is like the best years of your life, and that is when you learn the most, and that is when you really truly step into who you are as a person. I don't know if any of that actually helped anyone or gives anyone an answer to how to cope with saying goodbye to year 12. But a message from me to you is that everything is going to be okay. No matter what you go through, like, the amount of things that I've been through since year 12 has been a lot, but none of those things are gonna matter to me in 5 years' time. You know, they mattered in the moment and they were a big deal in the moment, but nothing is going to none of those things are going to matter to me in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. And I've dealt with those things and I'm fine. And I've come out the other end and I've still got things to go through. And so do you, but you're going to be okay. You're going to go through relationship breakups. You're going to go through friendship breakups. You're going to go through different careers. You might try different subjects at university. You're going to do all that. Life is going to change. Imagine how boring life would be if your path was completely set in stone and then you just went forward. The path of life is so uneven and rocky, and I actually think that is kind of the magical part of it, and that's what makes it so exciting, even though it's scary and it's stressful. Even if you're thinking about, like, maybe you're moving away from your hometown or something like that, or you want to move to a new place, or you want to try something completely new, try not to think about it in a perspective of, like, oh, that's so scary, I don't know what's going to happen, like, this is so stressful, the unknown. Think about how exciting that is. Think about all the people that you're going to meet, the opportunities that are going to come to you, all the side quests that you're going to go on, all the adventures that you're going to go to, and look to the future and how exciting that is. It's almost like looking at it in a half glass full rather than half glass empty kind of way. You can't go into things being like, I don't know, scary, scary, scary. You have to go into it thinking how exciting. I'm about to step into who I am as a person. I'm about to experience all these things, good, bad, sad, whatever, and they're going to make me into the person that I am. And how exciting. I literally think of my life as like a movie. To be honest with you. And I know at the end of the day there will be a happy ending, and I know that is exciting. And you're not even at the climax of the movie. This is just the introduction. I think for me right now, I'm saying in my current stage of life, like, we're always constantly saying goodbye to things, and we're always constantly saying hello to new things, but it's hard to acknowledge what we're saying hello to because sometimes we don't actually know what that is. But for me right now, I'm obviously saying goodbye to a relationship. I kind of wanted to just talk about the psychology of, well, not the psychology because I'm obviously not educated in that department, but kind of why it is that we actually cling to people. I think sometimes we cling to people in a relationship or a friendship because we are afraid to experience things on our own. And I think that's something that I've learned a lot, is that I'm actually really excited to start to experience things on my own. It's fun, I guess, to experience things with people, whether it's experience things as a friendship or in a relationship. But I think you need to feel comfortable in being able to experience things on your own. And we just cling to people because we find comfort in knowing we're not alone, which is why even maybe some of you will be listening to this podcast, or you look at your favorite influencer going through something, or you read a book, or you watch a movie, or whatever it is that you do to not feel alone. But the more you cling to someone and you avoid dealing with things on your own, the more you're avoiding your feelings, and I think it's unhealthy. I think it's healthy to lean on people and have support, but just remember that at the end of the day, you are the only person, and I've said this on this podcast before, you are the only person that you have to live with at the end of the day. And I don't think that should stop you from creating relationships, whether it's romantic or platonic. But I think maybe that is something that you should keep in the back of your head. Maybe I have my guard up because I've just been through a breakup. But just keep that in the back of your head if you think, oh, maybe I'm clinging to someone a little bit too much, or everything I do has to involve this person. Just think about it and reflect on it. For me, the going no contact has been me saying goodbye to that relationship, and it has really helped me. But as I said at the beginning of this podcast, now I'm just navigating whether I should block him or not, because I'm seeing all of his stuff, and anytime I do see him, or anytime I do see him make a video with a girl or something like that, it makes me start at square one. So maybe I love that as this podcast has happened, I've realized that I do need to block him. But going no contact is step one. Someone did DM me asking, like, how do you go no contact? And I think you just need to be really strict with yourself. And anytime that you do go to message them, or every time you do go to check their social media, you need to think in your head, okay, is that going to upset me? And if the answer is yes, which it is, the answer is yes. The answer is always yes, it is going to upset you. Don't do it. Even my friend came to me and was like, look, I have this information that I know about your ex being with someone else. I was like, respectfully, I don't want to know, because I know that that is going to make me upset. So please don't tell me, because I'm not going to have closure. Like, I have closure, but I'm not going to be able to move on and say goodbye if I'm constantly being reminded of this situation. So I think all my friends kind of know now around me, like, if you have something, please, like, just do not tell me. It's kind of like going with the hey girly messages that I talked about last week. Like, I genuinely just don't want to know anything. Ignorance is bliss, so I can move on and so I can say goodbye. Okay, let's get into some things that I'm saying goodbye to in 2025. And maybe we'll chat about them a little bit and we'll just list them off. In 2025, I'm saying goodbye to the bare minimum. And I think you all should be doing this as well. Again, in platonic friendships and in relationships, if someone is showing you how they behave, and their behavior is bare minimum, and their behavior is bare minimum, like they're really not going out of their way to do anything for you, bye-bye. You don't need that in your life. Me as a woman, or just me as a person, I'm not going to accept the bare minimum anymore going forward, because I know my worth and I know that I deserve way more than that. And I've dealt with that. I've already dealt with bare minimum, and I know how it ends up. And all it does is make you upset and sad, and makes you feel, it lowers your self-worth. So I think we should have high expectations. I had a friend the other day say, this is kind of a little bit off topic from bare minimum, but I had a friend and he was talking to me and he was like, oh, my other friends think that I should lower my standards. And I was like, whoa. You should never, ever be lowering your standards for anyone. If you place yourself here, like on a higher pedestal, or if you place yourself in this, I'm not saying you should place yourself above others, but if you place yourself at a certain standard, whether that is like in relationships, like you think you're this attractive and you want to be with someone that is like at this attractiveness level, or intellectual level, or charismatic level, or whatever, you should never, ever lower your standards, because ultimately that is only going to lead you to unhappiness. Even if I've never really had, I've had jobs, but I've always kind of worked for my mom, and then with this content I obviously work for myself, and then I have had other jobs. But if you think you have a certain skill set that is up here, why would you accept a job that's down here? It's just setting you back in life. And I think you should never lower your expectations or your standards. And that's why I don't think we should ever settle for bare minimum either. So we're saying goodbye to that. I've talked about this a lot on this podcast, but we're also saying goodbye to caring about what other people think. Honestly, we're in 2025. If you still care what other people think of you, that's a serious internal issue, and it's holding you back. We're saying goodbye to tolerating bad behavior. As soon as someone, and I'm going to relate this back to relationships, as soon as someone is dishonest with you, they cheat on you, they don't treat you well, they're mean to you, they put you down, leave them, please. You don't need to tolerate bad behavior. This kind of goes with accepting bare minimum and not lowering your standards. You don't deserve that. And I don't know who needs to hear that, but you don't deserve to tolerate shit. I just think of I don't know if anyone has seen Orange is the New Black, but I think of Orange is the New Black when Piper has that tattoo where it says trust no bitch. That kind of doesn't really have anything to do with that, but it just popped into my head. In 2025, we're saying goodbye to binge drinking every week. I just think maybe if you're in a new country or you're I'm super young, and if you're super young, it's fine, but you don't need to be going out binge drinking every single weekend. I think it's more fun to just kind of have spontaneous, sporadic, if you're celebrating every now and again, that's fun. I think if you binge drink every weekend, it makes you numb to it. Binge drinking leads to not good things. It leads to drug use. It leads to gambling problems. I think even going forward, with choosing my next partner, I don't want to be with someone that binge drinks because I've dealt with that in the past, and it's honestly traumatizing, and it's such an ick for me. It's such a turn off and a red flag when someone goes out every single weekend. I mean, I feel that's hypocritical coming from me because I've been doing I actually haven't been doing a lot of partying recently, but fresh out of the breakup, I definitely was. And I'm not saying I was going to the extreme. I probably had a few blowout nights, but right now I'm ready to settle and chill and only have fun big nights with my friends every now and again. And that it almost makes it more special. It makes those nights out with my friends more exciting, more important, more special. But I also find more value in doing things sober, and more value in finding support in my friends rather than just filling the void and using it as a band-aid going out and binge drinking. I'm not saying you shouldn't have fun. I'm really not saying that. But I just think maybe, especially in Brisbane and especially in Australia, the culture of binge drinking is kind of out of control. I'm saying goodbye to we should catch up. Do not hit me with the we should catch up. And if I hit you with the we should catch up, I'm really sorry. But let's make a date. Let's make a time. If you want to catch up with me, or if I want to catch up with you, you'll know. Let's say goodbye to fixing men with potential. It is never, ever your job to fix somebody. It is hard enough fixing yourself. Even me in my experience with my eating, with my mental health, finding purpose, it has been hard enough to navigate my own brain, fixing all those issues. And now and then in my relationship, I was dealing with fixing someone else's issues. And now now that has traumatized me so much that now I've got to deal with the outcomes of that and fixing that. So it is not your job to fix somebody, especially going into 2026. And as soon as you find a man that needs fixing, respectfully come back to him later when somebody else has fixed him or he's fixed himself. And same with friendships. In 2026, we are saying goodbye to feeling bad about choosing yourself. Saying no to going to something because you're tired is okay. Saying no, I don't want to hear that information about my ex, even though maybe it feels good for the other person to say it, or it's juicy gossip or whatever. It is okay to say no, because you are choosing yourself and you're choosing your own peace. We're saying goodbye to keeping the door open ajar for people who have already left it. If someone has told you they don't want to be in your life, do not leave the door open for them. They have made that decision and you are better off without them. And there's so many other people in this world that everything is going to be okay when you go make new relationships, new friendships, or even if you're on your own. Don't leave the door ajar for anyone that has chosen to exit through it. We're saying goodbye to checking your story views. Oh my God, I'm sick of seeing people that have ghosted me, old friends, situationships, whatever, people that have talked shit behind my back in my story views. You know they're there, okay? And then also, I just feel like if you're checking for a certain person in your story views, you're down bad about that person, either in a good way or a bad way. And I just would rather ignorance is bliss, and I would rather leave that. I think for me at this point, like, I don't want to sound weird when I say this, but I just have so many people checking my story views that I can't be like, going back through it. I saw a certain someone that I've had a turbulent relationship with, he checked my story views and I was like, why is he in my stories? Like, he doesn't even follow me or whatever. And then so I DM'd him being like, oh, like, you're checking up on me. Didn't reply to me. How embarrassing. So I unsent the message, but there's no way he didn't see that. And now I have to live with the consequences of my actions. I think checking story views just gets in your head. And I don't know if any girls can relate to that, but I would rather stay out of my head. I would rather have space for other things in my head than if, this is not a real name, but like if Sam viewed my story. I would rather just like leave that out of my head because it's going to play with my emotions. And last but not least, I am saying goodbye to settling for a life that doesn't excite me. I know so many people cringe at what I do, and I know that even today I got a comment on my TikTok saying the whole of Brisbane thinks you're crazy. So what? I'm building a life that's exciting me, and I'm building opportunities for myself, and I already have had so many opportunities come my way, and I'm happy with that, and I'm staying in my own lane. And if that's a life that excites me, then that shouldn't concern anyone else. And what anyone else's opinion of me is, I don't care. And I encourage you, and especially going back to like the leaving year 12 thing, I think you should don't settle for, like, if you have an opportunity, whether it's like leaving your hometown or whatever, don't settle because you're comfortable. Choose a life that's uncomfortable and choose a life that excites you. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. You'll learn from it. That was all the things I'm saying goodbye to in 2025. Maybe I should do another episode of maybe the things that I'm saying hello to in 2026. It was kind of a short episode, I think, today, and it was kind of all over the place. I hope it helps someone. I don't know. I've just been having a bad week, so I don't know if this episode is my best episode, but I really do thank you guys who have stayed to the end and who have listened to it, and hopefully next week I can be a little bit happier. But as I said, I've just been seeing things online with my ex that has kind of gotten into my head and made me feel bad, and that's kind of me just being really vulnerable. And I made a get ready with me, and I said, look, I'm gonna be honest and open, and I'm gonna share the good, the bad, and the ugly. So not every episode is gonna be me happy and be super inspirational, because sometimes I do just feel like shit, if I'm being honest. Anyway, love you guys so much. Thank you for supporting Meg It Makes Sense. Follow me on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. And I'm looking forward to next week's episode. Bye-bye.